So in this video, we're going to look at setting up our shrimp or our enemy character so that the player character can jump on the top of it to kill it, and if it's hit from the sides or the bottom, it kills the player. So I've already got my movement here for my shrimp, and what we want to do, let's go look quickly at our level here. So what we want to do with our shrimp now is set it up so if the player lands on top of it, it kills the shrimp, but if the player hits it from the side, the bottom, or the other side, it kills the player. Again, there are lots of ways you can do this, and we're kind of just scratching the surface with what we can do in Godot. But again, using things you already know, we can actually set this up fairly easily. So the basics here is what we're going to do is add 2 area 2Ds to our shrimp. You've already worked with the area 2Ds, but we're going to add one that covers the bottom and the sides, and another that covers the top. And then depending on which one the dog hits, that will determine what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 area 2Ds. And I'm going to name the first one top. And I'm going to add another one that I'm going to call sides. I'm just going to call it sides, but it's actually going to be the sides and bottom. If it makes more sense, again, for you to call it sides and bottom, go ahead and do that. Let's give these guys both some collision shapes. So I'm going to do the top. I'm going to go ahead and just add a collision shape 2D and a rectangular one like we've done in the past. And I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to put it just a little bit above the rigid body that I have here. And there's a reason for this, and if you want to experiment with it, go ahead and move it down below and see what happens, and then move it back up and see if you can tell why I'm doing this. So that's going to be when the dog jumps on it, it's going to hit this one that's the top. And for the sides, I'm going to do something slightly different, not necessarily because I have to, but because I can show you something new. And so we're going to do this collision polygon 2D. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. And so what we can do here is basically create a shape. And if you click, you will get some different dots. And then you can drag them around and create some different shapes. You need to have at least 3 in order to make a polygon. So I've got 4 here. If you want to add, you can just click anywhere on this line. You can see it's going to add a point. It's got that little green, that's what the little green plus means. So I'm going to add and just kind of drop that down a little bit there. And again, with this, you want it to stick out just a little bit past where your rigid body is, because that it won't hit it if it doesn't. Again, experiment with this and you'll start to see why I am doing the things that I am doing. It will make a lot more sense. You don't necessarily have to shape this with the indent in here. I'm just kind of doing this so I can show you a new thing. And we could do this with a rectangle, and just a rectangle that stuck out a little bit on the sides and bottom. But I wanted to show you a new thing in case there are times where you need something that isn't nicely met with a something that isn't nicely matched by just a simple shape like a square or a circle. All right, so I've got both of those. So I've got my top, which is the box up here, and my sides, which is the polygon down here. So let's go ahead, I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go to my script. So what we need to do is connect up both of these to their functions. We need to create a signal here. So for top, remember you want to use this on body entered instead of the area entered like we did before, because what we're looking for is the dog, who's a kinematic body. So I'm going to go ahead and have top selected and do connect, and we're going to put it on the shrimp script, and it's going to be called on top body entered. This is again a place where having a useful name is good, because you'll know immediately which one that is, which of the areas it is. And I'm going to go ahead and do the sides as well right now. And so we're going to go ahead and create a connection for that. Again, on sides body entered, connect, and there they both are. So let's do the top first, because that one's really pretty straightforward. So what we want to do when the dog hits the top is simply destroy the shrimp. So the first thing we want to do is check and make sure that what we've hit is the dog. At this point, the only thing we could hit is the dog, but there may be other things in the future. So let's go ahead and just, good coding practice, let's check. So we can do that the same way we have in the past, body.get_name. and see if that equals the dog. So my dog is called dog with a capital D. Yours may be called something different, so make sure you check that. That's usually the most common reason why this fails to work. And if we've hit the dog, if the dog has hit us from the top, we want to delete the shrimp. And you do that by calling this command queue_free. It's a little bit of a weird one, but just go with it. That's what it's called. So let's check if this works. Just for simplicity and speed of time, I'm going to go ahead and place my dog. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab the dog, and I'm going to put him so he starts out a little closer to the shrimp, just so I don't have to jump all the way up there, and you can watch me miss a lot of jumps repeatedly. I can always move him back down when I'm done testing. So there is my shrimp, and let's see if I can land on his back. And you see that that caused him to be deleted. So let's go ahead and run this again real quick, just so we can look at something different. So you can see, oh, I still hit him from the top there. Alright, so let's let him hit us from the side. You can see that if we hit him from the side, he turns around. That's what we've told him to do. If you hit anything, you want to turn around, but it doesn't kill him. And what we'd like this to do is kill our player. Now, we don't actually want to kill our player. We don't want to destroy the player, do the queue.free thing again like we do with the shrimp, because we want the player to still be here for the player to control. So we'd either want to do something like move on to another scene that says, like, you died, try again, or we want to have the player do a respawn where they go back to their original position. So if I want to do the respawn, the first thing I want to do is figure out where I want the dog to go. So I'm going to go ahead and position the dog at his starting point. And again, you decide where that is in your game. I'm going to put mine down here. And then I'm going to go to the inspector and the transform, and I'm going to see what the coordinates here are in position. So I've got 607 and almost 413. So I'm going to do a couple things. The first thing we're going to do is modify the dog so that he has a function to respawn himself, because there may be other things besides just shrimp that I want to cause him to respawn, maybe if he falls off the bottom or something. So let's go to our dog script, and we're going to create a respawn function that is going to set his coordinates back to his start. So you do that. I've gone all the way down here to the bottom, and I've tabbed all the way back to the left, so there are no tabs here. We're going to use the keyword func, which is how you create a function, and then the word respawn, that's going to be the name of our function, open close parentheses, and then a colon. And then this next line we want to be tabbed in. So we're basically creating a function, kind of like ready in physics process here, but we're making our own. And if you remember how to set the position, we set our position X to something and our position Y to something. That's how we have something go to a specific position to do a reset. You guys did this, hopefully, for your collect and avoid game for the lizard. So let's go back and look at our dog. 607 and 413 are the correct ones for mine. So let's go ahead and put those in. And 413. And save that. And then I can go to my shrimp. And now what I can do is when the sides are hit, we want to still check and see if it's the dog. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy what I've got up here, check to see if it's the dog, because if we've hit other things, for example, the tile set, we don't want that to delete our shrimp. So if it's the dog, we want to have the dog call its respawn. So this is a little bit of a confusing thing for those of you who have not been through programming, but body here will be whatever has been hit. Whatever has hit the side of the shrimp, that will be body. So if body is the dog, that's what's being checked here with this if statement. If body.getName is the dog, then we want to call body.respawn. So call the respawn function on the dog. So what this will call, if I spell it properly, not reprawn, respawn. What this will call when I call body.respawn is this one. It'll call respawn because we've checked to see that dog is what body is. So let's give that a quick try. I'm going to go back to my level, and I'm going to again move my dog up to a higher position here, so I can quickly get to that location. So let's let my shrimp move, and then let's fall down here, and boom, it hit me, and you can see it put me back at my starting location as soon as I hit that. So those are your basics there. From here, you may want to add in some additional things. You may want to do things like if the dog falls off the bottom of the screen too far, it maybe resets or does a respawn. You can use your area 2Ds for that if you'd like to. You can use some other things as well, some if statements perhaps. And from here, you can do a lot of other interesting things with your game, so see what it is you can make. Good luck!